Hello, hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Teens Biz Talk podcast. We are so excited that you were able to join us here today with our very, very special guest. We can't wait to hear what she has to share in terms of motivation, in terms of growing in your business, in terms of new things, just in terms of all the things that she is doing. So we cannot wait to talk with her. Before we do that, just to remind everyone, this episode is being sponsored by Bateman Empowering Educators. At Bateman Empowering Educators, we take away the trial and error method of your teenager learning about money and replace it with a practical blueprint to equip them to create a five-star financial future. So make sure you click on the link below to see what other resources we have available. Okay, so now we are going to get into it. We are so excited to have with us today Miss Jordan Wright. Miss Jordan Wright is a Christ follower. She is a soap maker. She is a best-selling author. She is a young entrepreneur advocate and a self-care advocate. Hello, Jordan. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking time to come and chat with our community
Yes,
for
thank
just a
you
little
for
bit
having me.
today. Sure. So I just listed quite a few things there that you are involved with. Would you mind just telling us a little bit more about yourself and just kind of delving into any one or all of those things that you do?
Yeah, definitely. So, like she said, my name is Jordan Wright, and I'm the CEO of Jabriel Handmade Goods. And so I make products like these. So these are a few of my products. So I make lotions, bath bombs, soaps, and more. And they're all handmade, and they do not have any chemicals, like any yucky chemicals or anything, because I started because I had eczema originally, and so I want to make it good for sensitive skin. And I'm also a self-care advocate because I believe that self-care is directly connected to your mental health and how you feel about yourself. And like she said, I am a best-selling author, and I wrote this called The Clean Truth About Starting a Business for Teens. And I wrote it because I believe that youth entrepreneurship is super important and that all of us have the ability to start early, and we should if we can. So yeah.
That is great. So if we could circle back just a little bit. So you talked about self-care. What does self-care look like? There's a lot of things out there and articles and people saying, oh, I had to go buy, this $1,000 pair of shoes for my self-care, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say self-care should look like?
Well, I don't want to really say what it should look like because it really depends on the person. For me, self-care is art, alone time, and doing my skincare. But for some people, it could be going shopping or cooking for themselves or, maybe reading a book with their pet or just reading a book alone. It really depends on the person. But for me, I think that self-care, the definition of self-care is just, really, like it says, taking care of yourself and just doing what you want to do and what you feel like doing, as long as it's not bad, obviously. Um, and just making sure that you are putting yourself first. Sometimes it's okay to put yourself first, and you don't always have to. Everything you do should not revolve around what you revolve around others. It should revolve around you sometimes as well. And so I think that's really important to do that because otherwise you can get super stressed or you can just start to feel bad about yourself. Because if you don't care about yourself, then you're not going to care for yourself. And so
Mm,
that's how it's directly linked to mental health as well.
okay. I like that. So it sounds like when you just gave your explanation and kind of definition about self-care, that that's what you did even in your own business. So if you can talk a little bit, you said that you were struggling with eczema, and
Mhm.
then from that came about just one of your businesses that you have. Could you just give us a little bit of a background and tell us a little bit of that journey, how that occurred?
Yeah, definitely. So I started, like I said, because I had eczema. And so that made it really difficult for me to get all the soaps that I wanted. I was 10 at the time that I started. And so obviously I wanted like really colorful stuff like sparkles and really good scents. But of course, since I had eczema, all I could get was like, the basic white soaps with like no scent. They kind of smelled like a grandma or something, or like grandma's perfume. But, I wanted the stuff from Claire's or Justice, but I couldn't get those. And so I decided, why not make my own? And so at first when I started, it was pretty difficult because I did not know anything. I learned most of my stuff from the internet, YouTube University. And so from there, I made it originally just for myself. I did not originally want to turn it into a business. And then I started giving to my friends as birthday gifts or Christmas gifts. And people started to like really like these. And they're like, you know what? You should turn this into a business. And at first, I really did not want to because I am an introvert and I am super shy. And talking to people just isn't my thing. So that was really difficult for me. But I started selling at my church with people that I knew, and they were eager to support me. And I'm super grateful for that, obviously. And so the hustle started there, and then I went door to door, and that was also super scary for me. And then I got a partnership with Microsoft, and I was allowed to do workshops at the Microsoft store in the Galleria, I believe, or was it Fabric Mall? I don't remember which one. But yeah, so and then that's basically how I started, and now I'm here and I have written a book. And I used to actually do support literary literary causes, but now I'm more geared toward entrepreneurship, and I'm just trying to get into as many schools as possible to teach them about entrepreneurship and teaching them how to support each other because obviously, especially in the African American community, there's not a lot of support there, and we really need that support, and we need to build up the generational wealth. And that is the easiest way to do that would be with entrepreneurship. So yes.
Yes, 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 and yes on everything right there. So actually, you just mentioned a couple of things that number one, big shout out to you for being able to get that partnership with Microsoft is
Thank you.
huge. So
Yeah.
that is I just want to say congratulations on that. And then just when you were talking about wanting to get into different schools to talk with others about that, how would you say, and definitely if you can speak to the fact that you just shared with us, right, you're an introvert, how would you say other teen entrepreneurs can network maybe to find these opportunities like you did with Microsoft, or even finding opportunities to get into other schools or youth groups or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. So, networking is super important, obviously, to help yourself to get more opportunities, like you said, and also just make those connections so that you can have mentors and people who also have other connections so that you can get the help you need. And also, sometimes other people need help. Even if you're a teen entrepreneur, you may know something that other people don't. But as an introvert, that can be super difficult. Just like taking that first step and walking up to a person saying hi can be super difficult. And I know from experience, my first networking event was with the Fashion Entrepreneurs of Houston, Texas. And it was all adults in the room. I was the only kid, and my mom was there with me, but there was only one seat left, and she made me go sit down with a bunch of adults. And so I was very scared. But in the end, I just gathered all of my confidence, which at the time was not very much. And I just went up to someone and said, "Hi, can I talk to you for a second?" She was really interesting too. But that can be really difficult, and it's easier said than done, but just go for it. I know that sounds a little bit, cliche, but that's really all you can do is just go for it. And if it doesn't work out with that person, you can't build a relationship with them, that's okay. They're just not for you, or it's just not your time with them. So just keep that in mind as well. If you get no's, that's okay because it's just not your time.
That is great advice. So I would imagine, just in terms of what you do with your business, with speaking at different places, an author, right, definitely takes time to write a book.
Yeah.
Your Christ followers, I would imagine you're active in your church, and then there's
Mhm.
school, and then there's home, and then there's just
Yeah, just there's
time
a
for
lot.
you. How do
Yeah.
you manage all that? How would you just share with other entrepreneurs in terms of what they can do for time management and then discipline to make sure you get done what you need to get done?
Yeah, definitely. So one of my things is that I'm still trying to get out of this habit. It's a pretty bad habit, but I am in fact a procrastinator. And so when it comes to school, I do actually have a lot of schoolwork, but one thing that I like to do is I like to make my notes super fun, so that's easier for me to study. And also I do in fact work better under pressure, but I try not to do that to wait. So I just try to make things a little bit more interesting for me for school, so that it makes it easier for me to learn myself. And as for church, it's not very difficult for me to stay active in my church because I really do enjoy it. And I enjoy going to church and reading my Bible. And my mom also does, of course, help me with all that stuff. And I love her so much for that. And yeah, but with business, I just try to work on it whenever I can because definitely being homeschooled as well, I do have my schedule isn't always set,
Mhm.
and so I just had to work around that, and that can be really difficult for me. But just trying to work on it whenever you have time, and of course, do take that self-care time as well. Don't focus all of your energy on your work, but also take some time for self-care. Just work on your business whenever you have the opportunity, and if you do need a break, or you feel like you're getting too stressed, then just take a break, go do some
Mhm.
self-care, and then come back when you're ready.
That is very important to take those breaks. So, how old are you again, Jordan?
I just turned 14.
Just turned 14. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
And you've been doing your business for how long?
Since I was 10.
Since you were 10. Wow,
Yeah.
that is awesome. I would imagine over time you've run into some challenges
Mhm.
with operating your business. Can you share with us a challenge or two that you encountered, and then how that helped you to grow as a business owner, and then just also as a person?
Yeah, definitely. So actually, one of my first challenges was when I actually stopped doing my business because obviously as a 10-year-old, uh, I wasn't exactly mature enough to handle it as well as I can now. And so I actually stopped doing my business. It wasn't because of like any specific challenges or anything. It was just because like I wasn't like really in it. And so then when I was 11, I started my business back up again. And so during that time, I still was an introvert, and when I was going door to door, a lot of people kept telling me, no, thanks, and come back later. And that really got my confidence down because as an introvert, I obviously had to gather a whole bunch of confidence and courage to just go up to that doorstep. And getting no's was super hard
Mhm.
because I obviously didn't really expect much already, but just getting as many no's as I did was definitely difficult for me.
Yeah.
And just that's probably the most challenging thing I've had so far with my business, just getting no's and trying to stay confident.
Mhm.
And there's not really any specific advice I can give on that because, every person is different, like I said before. But for me, it's just the having the support group to help you through those times, like my
Mhm.
mom, my family, and my friends, which is also why networking is super important because you can have a good support group to help you through those times when you're not feeling so confident or you're
Yeah.
feeling low or you feel like you need some help. And also just taking those breaks, like I said, doing your self-care can also help to increase your confidence as well. So you're caring for yourself and you're caring about yourself at the same time.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. Over time, people have probably tried to give you advice like, oh,
Yes.
maybe you should do this, or oh, maybe you should make all your bottles pink so people know
Yeah.
they're for girls, or just whatever. What would you say is the best advice that you received? And then what would be the worst advice?
So I don't really have many people who give me bad advice. Most of the people in my life are pretty wise. But I think the best advice that I have gotten so far is from my mom, and she just always keeps me encouraged. And so one of the advices that I got from her recently was definitely to go do the speaking engagements, and because speaking is definitely difficult for me, like I said. But going to speaking engagements has been the best thing in my life. And I just recently went to a school. It was called Hightower, and I did not want to go at first. And it was a partment with Junior Achievement, and so I went, of course, because my mom kind of forced me at first. But I went, and I actually made some really good connections at that school, and I had a lot of fun with the kids there. And she just really encouraged me to, take those leaps of faith, and even if you don't want to do something that could be good for you, you should do it anyways. And also, it was good for the others as well. So, she's also taught me to not just be thinking about what I want to do necessarily, but also think about how I could help others. And that's definitely been the best advice I've gotten so far. As for the worst advice, mm, hmm, probably probably to take on another class because I have 5 classes in total right now, well, 6, and one of them is at San Jack. Well, 3 of them are at San Jack College, and so, I was going to take on another class because I got some advice for someone that I should do that and really accelerate that, but I think if I had, I would've been way too stressed, and that would've been a lot on my plate, so I'm glad I didn't do that. So, also, yeah, definitely for self-care, don't put too much on your plate or you're gonna end up stressed even if you do self-care, so, yeah.
Yes. Wow. Thank you for that. The good and what is the bad. People sometimes they say, well, I meant well.
Yeah.
It didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you're coming up with ideas for what to make, so I see you have bar soap. I saw on your site you do body butter, different things like that. Where do you get your ideas from? Like, what do you do to help kind of spark your creativity?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm actually an artist, and so that does help a little bit when coming up with ideas or packaging.
Mhm,
But one of the most important things is feedback from my customers.
mhm,
Uh, thinking about what they want as well as what I would like to see in a product myself.
mhm.
And because I've improved on my recipes quite a bit since I started, and that has mostly just been from customer feedback and seeing what they like, and really just making sure that I'm tending to their needs. So yeah, that's basically it. And I just make body products right now, so it's not too much of a creative process for coming up with ideas, but yeah, it's definitely what I focus on the most.
Great. Very good. Well, we have covered quite a bit just in terms of business, in terms of how to operate in business, networking. Thank you again for sharing just opportunities that you've been presented with. I'm sure there are other teen entrepreneurs that are listening right now, like, wow, okay, maybe I should go ahead and make that phone call or send that email. To that big business. So thank you for sharing and encouraging us in that. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about that we actually didn't talk about? We didn't talk a whole lot about your book. Did you want to share
Oh,
things on that?
yeah. So, like I said before, this is my book, The Clean Truth About Starting Business for Teens. And so basically, this book does say for teens, but anyone from any age can read it. I've had varying ages read it, but my target market is of course teens. And so in this book, I talk about target market, how to do marketing, your finances, and passion, and what you really need, the ingredients that you need to create a business. And so basically, I wrote this book from a perspective of what I would have needed when I was first starting.
Mm,
And I think that it would be a really great book if you have a teen, or you are in fact starting a business yourself, and you just need that extra bit of help or a little bit of a push.
mm,
And even if you have already started a business, you're a bit experienced. I do know that sometimes you can read a book that maybe is for startups or for starting a business that will still have some information that could help you now. And so I think that's really important that people get their hands on this book because I definitely would have needed it when I was 10 and when I first started. And I probably still need a little bit of this advice now. Just
mm.
taking a bit of my own advice, but yeah, so that's about my book. That's it.
Great. Great. So, how can my community connect with you?
Yeah, so you can go to my Instagram and Facebook at JBrielleHMG, and that is JBrielleHMG. And you can go to my website at jbriellehmg.com to get my book, and you can also go get my book on Amazon. And once again, it is called The Clean Truth About Starting a Business for Teens. And if you do want to email me, my email is jbriellehmg@gmail.com.
Awesome. That is great. Well, thank you again for taking time and sharing all of this great information with us, everybody. Please take a moment, go check her out on Instagram, go check out her website, go order your book, go order your skincare product. Go, 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 go. And let's go ahead and make sure we are supporting Jordan in all that she is doing. Thank you again. And
Thanks so much.
also, if you're listening to us on any of our podcast platforms, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you are watching us on our YouTube channel, hello and thank you for tuning in. Please also be sure to like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. So before we go, I just wanted to remind everyone, as I always do, everything in creation was created with a gift inside of it. That includes you. So go out and share your gift with the world. Until next time.